Hey, what are you doing here? Don't you know this game is dead? That must be why my comments section won't shut up about it. Because nobody plays it, right? Anyway, with Season 5 confirmed and a second year of content very likely in the works, I thought I'd make a general guide for this game in the event that it comes back stronger than Dumbledore in Lord of the Rings. The developers have slowly but surely been updating and improving the game, and considering that they actually listened to the community and decided to work on dedicated servers, I'd say they're going to stick with it for at least another year. After all, if Siege can get people to pay $40 each year to get access to new content, why can't For Honor? Let's start with the absolute basics, because even though the game does just fine teaching them to you in the tutorial, I still have to at least try to hit the 10-minute mark, right? First up is defense. You can guard an attack in 3 directions, left, right, and up. Enemy attacks will obviously come from one of these 3 directions, unless it's a bash or a guard break, which I'll get to in a bit. You can try to match your guard with your opponents as they move it, but a lot of the time they'll just shake uncontrollably between all 3 guards like Taylor Swift shaking off the players and the haters. I didn't even have to play the song and it's still stuck in your head now, isn't it? Instead, it's best to hold your guard in the direction of your opponent's fastest attack, which you'll learn the more you play the game, and then react to whichever way they decide to go. Blocking is a good start, but it doesn't protect you from 100% of the damage. Ultimately, you'll want to get good at parrying so you can actually get in a free counterattack and not get chipped like a motherfucking Pringle. Not a sponsor. It's also important to be ready for unblockable attacks, the scary orange glowy attacks that you have to either parry or dodge. A parry can be done by pressing the heavy attack button while matching your opponent's guard right before their attack lands, as you see the bright red flash. Parrying a heavy attack will allow at least a light attack or guard break in almost every situation, but heavy attacks from range like Valkyrie's leaping spear swipe will often be just out of reach, so it's best to just emote after to bring out some fresh salt. Don't get too greedy though, because heavy attacks can be feinted, and a smart opponent will often bait you to open you up for attack. Once your reaction times are try-hard enough and you can parry light attacks, note that you should almost always follow this with a heavy. There are situations where a guard break might still be better, like if you're standing next to a cliff, but for the most part every hero can land a powerful heavy for big damage. Dodging can also be useful if you decide to go with one of the assassin heroes, but if your opponent decides to break your guard while you're prancing around like Bambi, there's nothing you can do to stop it. If you're playing any of the assassins or Valkyrie, you can dodge into an attack right before it hits to perform a deflect. Different heroes get different things from successful deflects, and you can watch the tutorial videos in the menus to better understand how to play each one. Or you can just watch my various guide videos here on YouTube. What? You expect me not to plug my own shit? That's it for defensive tactics, now let's talk about dealing damage.
Finish her!
Depending on what hero you choose, different guard stances can yield different attacks. For example, Warden's top light attack is faster than their side lights, but their top heavy attack is slower than the 2 side heavies. Once again, I'll leave it up to you to figure out the exact attacks and combos for whatever hero you choose, because I want this video to hit 10 minutes, not 84 years. Light attacks are going to be your bread and butter for the most part, because anyone with over 20 minutes of playtime can parry heavies in their sleep while dreaming about a universe where For Honor wasn't made by Ubisoft. I'm getting ahead of myself though. Throwing a light attack means you're 100% committed to that attack, but heavies can be feinted by pressing circle, or B, or E if you're a fucking weirdo that plays on mouse and keyboard. Like me. Feinting attacks can pretty frequently open up your opponent for a quick light attack or guard break, or at the very least keep your opponent guessing. As I mentioned earlier, letting a heavy attack fly is about as smart as simply walking into Mordor, which is to say that the odds are against you, but there's always a fool's hope. Occasionally throwing a heavy can surprise your opponent if you're careful, or if you have a Samwise the Brave to back you up with constant guard breaking. Speaking of guard breaking, here's how to do it. Press X, square, or what is it, middle mouse button? If you're playing mouse and keyboard, you better remap that shit to break your opponent's guard. Guard breaks can be countered by pressing the same button at any point during your opponent's attempt. It's trivially easy to stop a guard break when facing your opponent head on, but there are a few situations where you can sneak one in. The first, as I mentioned earlier, is baiting a parry attempt by feinting a heavy and going straight into the guard break. If you can catch your opponent in their heavy startup, there's nothing they can do. If there's a book of the oldest goddamn tricks For Honor edition, this is chapter 1 shit, but that doesn't mean it will never work. You can also get a free guard break if you do it while your opponent is dodging, unless it's a raider, because raiders are dickheads. You should tell them that too. And also tell them Shaman is balanced, just to piss them off even more. Another way to land a guaranteed guard break is right after you parry an enemy attack, as I also mentioned earlier. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. But that should get us closer to 10 minutes, so fuck it. The last thing you need to watch out for is bash or vortex attacks. Not every hero in For Honor has one of these, but The good ones do. As soon as you see that spooky orange glow, your only real option is to dodge to either side, but be careful with Warden and Shaman, as both of these heroes can feint their vortex into a guard break. Naturally, everyone hates them. Highlander can also mix up his vortex, but nobody plays that walking garbage can, so you don't really have to worry about it. You'll likely see a lot of people spamming their bash attack and guard break repeatedly until they beat you down harder than you beat your banana last month. This is honestly an effective strategy against newer players as long as you're fully aware that you are A, a bitch, and B, a Warden main, which effectively makes you a bitch. I'm not judging you, Warden is one of my favorites. However, in higher levels of play, this strategy is predictable and easy to counter, and still not quite as annoying as turtling. A turtle is an affectionate name for someone that doesn't throw any attacks out of fear of getting parried, and instead just blocks, parries, or dodges everything their opponent does so they can have no risk every time they counterattack. Fighting like this is as boring as it is regrettably effective, although you can counter it by feigning a lot of attacks, guard breaking, and bashing. Or you can just turtle up as well and enjoy the staring contest. Lastly, let's talk about stamina management. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet because it's not that complicated. Don't run out of stamina unless you enjoy getting shit on, figuratively. But if you do happen to run out of stamina, your best course of action is just to turtle up and block everything your opponent throws like your life depends on it, because it fucking does. Throwing any attacks would practically be suicide, as even your lights are slow as balls, and if your opponent parries them, your ass hits the ground and the enemy can land a huge punish. If your opponent manages to guard break you, they can throw you to the ground and land another punish. If, however, the other player runs out of stamina, it's time to go to town. Normally, if a light attack is blocked, it puts a stop to your attack chain, but if the person you're unloading on is out of stamina, you're free to continue spamming unless they manage to parry you. Light spam is nice if you have the right hero to pull it off, as you can chip away at their health even if they're blocking, but it's better to throw in some heavy feints to try and bait a parry attempt. Then you can tell your opponent to sit the fuck down because class is in session. That's about it for the basics of combat, aside from things that are specific to individual heroes. The rest is just practice and playtime. Alright, what time are we at? Oh, great. Not even close. Well, to get us to that magical 10-minute mark, I'll quickly summarize how to play every hero in the game in a few short sentences. Actually, that's not a bad idea for a separate video. Maybe I'll just end this one here.